Guyana's opposition leader blanks the president's request to meet to discuss election matters. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Thursday, February 28. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Opposition leader Barack Jagdeo is refusing an invitation by President David Granger to a consultation on elections. He says he will not only sit down with Granger if setting an election date is on the agenda. Now, Jagdeo's People's Progressive Party is demanding that elections be held by March 19th, in keeping with the 90-day deadline set out by the Constitution after government lost a no-confidence vote in the National Assembly on December 21st last year. On Wednesday, Minister of State Joseph Harmon disclosed that on the proposed agenda for the March 6th meeting, which the President wants with Jagdeo, is the National Assembly's constitutional role in the current situation and the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM's readiness and requirements for poll funding to enable it to conduct general and regional elections. But at a press briefing on Thursday, Jagdeo said those issues are covered by the Constitution and he therefore sees no need to meet to discuss those matters.
Why does he want to consult with me on those two issues? Nothing about when we will have elections, the date for elections, and I made it clear. Unless that is the topic, there will be no meeting. They will drive us into unconstitutional territory and we will go there. Because we're not going to compromise on this government complying with the Constitution of Guyana. And we'll go into unconstitutional territory. And then they will hang on to power and be an unconstitutional, illegal government, and let's see how long they would last in that kind of mode, because the entire world will treat them as illegal and we will treat them as illegal, and they would be illegal.
Granger's invitation to Jagdeo came on the heels of a letter from GCOM informing him that it cannot deliver credible polls by the March 19th deadline and that it would require funds approved by the National Assembly. Jagdeo on Thursday accused the president of sending one letter to GCOM and releasing a different one to the public. However, the letter which the office of the presidency released, which Jagdeo was referring to, made mention of a previous letter. Still in Guyana, trade unions came together Thursday morning to put pressure on the government to act against Russian bauxite company Rusal, which dismissed 61 workers who went on strike and has now refused to reinstate them. The employees were fired early this month after they took industrial action over the imposition of a 1% salary increase. Now, supporting the dismissed workers, the Guyana Trades Union Congress and the Federation of Independent Trade Unions of Guyana, which represents the joint interests of a group of trade unions, including the Guyana Bauxite and General Workers Union, stood in solidarity outside the Rusal office in Georgetown. Nigel Collymore of Newsroom Guyana reports.
The protesters aim to strengthen their appeal to the government to act against the company for the unlawful dismissal of 61 workers before later making it known that they have no intention of reinstating them. The 61 workers were fired by the company after they decided to protest the imposition of a 1% increase in their salaries. The union representatives say that the workers are being unjustly victimized in their own country by foreigners with little regard for Guyana's labor laws or conventions on human rights. Coretta MacDonald, president of the Guyana Trades Union Congress, GTUC, was out among the protesters and spoke to the newsroom.
The thing is, we cannot continue to talk about respect for collective rights, respect for collective bargaining, respect for freedom of association, and then on the other hand, we're doing something totally opposite. Now, in our Constitution, it paves the way for workers' rights and for workers to be associated with whichever union they want to be associated with, and for those unions to be able to bargain for them. What is happening here today is a case where we have seen total disregard for law and order. And you know, it hurts more when it's coming from a foreign company and we just sit idly by and allow this to happen to our workers. And I'm saying, I want to say to this administration, I want to say to the opposition, workers' rights are human rights. And, you know, these are the same people that you come to embrace every now and again. And if you're going to forsake us at this time, then workers will know exactly what they have to do.
Also leading the charge at the protest was Lincoln Lewis, General Secretary of the Bauxite Union, who debunked Rusal's reasons for firing the workers.
Let me say two things. What they're saying is that the contract of employment says that they can't absent from work. And they can't strike. As such, they can't strike. The Constitution gives you that right. The Constitution, let me make a point to people. The Guyana Constitution is deliberate in saying that you can withdraw, you can go on strike. The U.S. Constitution is implicit. We have gone beyond even the United States to say what the freedoms are, right? How, on the second point, on the first point, let me say to you that any contract, anything that is written in your contract of employment that is in conflict with the law, and denies you of anything, right, is null and void.
Representatives of the union said they are committed to continued action and are planning to conduct other demonstrations around the city.
Now, following a meeting with Rusal representatives on Tuesday, Social Protection Minister Amnal Ali put on the company on notice that government would make a decision regarding its operations in Guyana. Corporal punishment in schools in St. Lucia is coming to an end. The Education Ministry has announced that it will be suspended effective May 1st, 2019 and abolished by May 2020. Now, officials say the move aligns with a number of conventions signed by the St. Lucia government with international agencies, now like the United Nations. We get more in this HTS News report.
As of May 1st, 2019, teachers and educators will not be allowed to physically punish students. A recent incident in which a female high school student was allegedly struck by her principal put the issue of corporal punishment under public scrutiny. Under St. Lucia's Education Act, teachers are allowed to physically discipline students. However, things are about to change. A memo signed by the Acting Chief Education Officer, Rufina Charles, dated February 20, 2019, announces that Cabinet endorsed the initial suspension and ultimate abolition of corporal punishment in all schools effective May 1, 2019. Research indicates that school corporal punishment continues to be a legal means of disciplining children in a third of the world's countries. In the region, it is viewed as a norm and supported by parents and teachers. Cabinet has also called for the eventual abolishment of corporal punishment in all schools effective May 1, 2020. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child Committee denounces this form of punishment and argues that it violates the rights of children.
You're watching Caribbean Newsline. Coming up, PAHO urges the region to prepare timely responses to dengue outbreaks. Stay with us. More news after this.
Barbados Bay Jetty also offers expansive views, but more importantly, the reopening of the jetty after a decade and a half has significant economic benefits. Patricia Nicholson explains.
Truckers no longer need to journey 10 kilometers to transport material from the Studley Park quarry to the Scarborough port in preparation for shipment to Trinidad. Now it's a 1-kilometer drive to the Barbados Bay Jetty, where the material is placed on a barge for the sister isle.
The Jamaican Bar Association says it's shocked by the passage of a new order under the Terrorism Prevention Act that will require lawyers to disclose information that could link their clients to terrorism. Bar Association President Jacqueline Cummins says the Terrorism Prevention Designated Reporting Entity Attorneys at Law order was passed in the House of Representatives on Tuesday without consultation, and she argues that the provision in the order requiring members to report suspicious transactions will breach attorney-client privilege. The Bar Association has taken a similar position on the Proceeds of Crime Act. A court of appeal ruling on its challenge to that legislation is pending.
Very concerned about this bill passing through Parliament without proper consultation, because we believe that if you really are interested in ensuring that these bills stand up to scrutiny and to our courts, that consultation is the avenue to go before you promulgate these bills.
Prior to the passage of the terrorism prevention order on Tuesday, opposition MP Anthony Hilton warned the government to tread carefully given that a ruling in the Proceeds of Crime Act challenge was pending. Now, responding to the opposition's concerns, Attorney General Marlene Malahoo argued that Jamaica has an international obligation to put in place a framework to deal with suspicious transactions in light of terrorism financing concerns. The Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, is calling on Latin American and Caribbean countries to prepare for a timely response to possible outbreaks of dengue fever. Since dengue's reintroduction in the region in the 1980s, there have been cyclical outbreaks and epidemics every 3 to 5 years. The director of the Department of Communicable Diseases and Environmental Determinants of Health at PAHO, Dr. Marcos Espinal, says the disease has become more complex over the years. He said this is due to several factors such as unplanned urban growth, water and sanitation problems, climate change, and in some countries the simultaneous circulation of all 4 types of dengue, which increases the risk of serious cases and outbreaks. Now, according to PAHO's latest epidemiological update on dengue published on February 22nd, over 500,000 cases of dengue were reported in the Americas last year, and there were 336 deaths. Now, during the first 6 weeks of 2019, almost 100,000 cases of dengue were reported, including 632 cases of severe dengue and 20 deaths. Now, PAHO recommends that countries intensify disease surveillance as well as vector control measures to reduce mosquito populations that transmit the disease. The Bahamas is reporting a reduction in the budget deficit of nearly $80 million for the first half of the current fiscal year. The figures are included in a report on the economic performance for that period presented to Parliament by Finance Minister Peter Turnquest on Wednesday. We get an update on the state of the economy in this report from Zenidus Network News.
In a lengthy presentation of about 71 pages, the acting Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable K. Peter Turnquest, revealed the country's fiscal performance for the first 6 months of the current fiscal year. One of the key promises of the Minister administration for the 2018-2019 budget was to pay off that $360 million in old bills and reduce the deficit. Turnquest revealed that for the first half of the fiscal year, increased revenue from new taxes paid off a portion of the old bills and decreased the deficit by almost $80 million.
The fiscal deficit contracted by 31%, or $78.7 million, to $175.3 million in comparison to the same period in the previous fiscal year. And I repeat, we saw a near $80 million reduction year on year in the deficit at the midpoint of the year.
The revenue outrun showed a $129.5 million or 14.7% increase, and while historically revenue collections are up in the second half of the fiscal year with payments that include real property taxes, business license, or other taxes, VAT collections are below what's forecasted. There were increases in the expenditure, a major component, paying down on that $360 million arrears the Minnis administration met when it assumed office. Government committed to paying $172 million this fiscal year and has already paid $65.1 million.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, the West Indies and England's captains praised their team's performance in the fourth ODI. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Welcome to the WWG 2019 War with Germs.
The Oxitec antimicrobial glove is wasting no time, folks.
Quite right, Tammy. I see no way for the germs duo to come back from this.
Oh, what a slam. What a slam. Oxitec is the winner in less than a minute. WWG champion of the world. Find our champion at www.psci.biz or give us a call at 417-0777.
Don't jump up to this non-stop turn and twist.
What up, it's your boy French Montana.
It's me, Smokey Robinson.
It's your boy David Doe.
Hi, I'm Elamay.
This is Buju Banton and I'll be performing live with the Shiloh Band in St. Kitts Music Festival.
Don't miss the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, June 26th to June 30th, 2019. Featuring Buju Banton, Smokey Robinson, Popcorn, and Elamay. Also, Davido, French Montana, Fimba, Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Coco T, Skinny Fabulous, Shal Marshall, Charlie Black, Farmer Nappy, Nadia Batson, Infamous, New Vibes Band, and many, many more. It will be epic. It will be mind-blowing. It will be jaw-dropping. It will be awesome. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. For more information and to buy tickets, log on to www.stkittsmusicfestival.com.
West Indies captain Jason Holder and his England counterpart Owen Morgan have praised their team's performances in the fourth ODI, which England won by 29 runs. Now, the teams made a combined 807 runs between them and a record-breaking 46 sixes, which brought life to the Grenada National Stadium from the get-go. The Windies were asked to chase an improbable 418 runs, but with the century scored by Chris Gayle, it gave the Caribbean men a fighting chance to upset the world #1 team. That did not happen, however. Adil Rashid's assault of 5 for 38 left the Windies close, but yet too far from England's record-breaking total. But Captain Holder is still holding his head high, crediting his men for their outstanding performance.
Stuck to it, really give a good effort. Credit to Chris, 10,000 runs in ODI cricket, and obviously, batting the way he batted was outstanding. It's just unfortunate we weren't able to get over the line in the end. Yeah, it was a good surface to bat on. Obviously, the ball went around the park, and both teams struggled to contain. Credit to both sides. It was a tremendous cricket game. I thought Butler really was outstanding at the very end, and him and Morgan really had a good partnership and set up the game nicely for them. Just the way we had to go at it. Really had to go at it and capitalize on the power play. We were after a pretty good start, and then we kept momentum going straight through the innings, which is really commendable. Just unfortunate at the end, we just weren't able to get in.
Looking ahead to the fifth and final ODI, Holder said he expects to see an equally entertaining match in St. Lucia.
I think both teams have played an outstanding series so far, and we should expect a really good final encounter in St. Lucia. Obviously, England are 2-1 up, and we've got all to play for to try to level the series.
Meanwhile, Morgan singled out Joss Butler for his remarkable knock of 150 from 77 balls. He praised his team for their all-round effort in setting the highest runs chase in the Caribbean. The England captain also recognized Chris Gayle's contribution.
Collectively as a group we batted brilliantly, and it probably brought the best out in all of us. It started at the top with Bairstow and Hales, were absolutely excellent, got us off to a flying start and laid a platform which allowed myself and Joss to build a partnership. And obviously Joss is built like a champion racehorse, and when he gets out in his stride he's very difficult to stop. So watching him in full flow today was exceptional and gave us the best chance of going out and putting on a really strong score. And saying that, Chris Gale's a magnificent form and very difficult to stop, particularly on a wicket and ground like this. And I thought the West Indies played really well and gave their all.
Morgan believes the Windies is a force to be reckoned with and should not be taken for granted.
A lot of people talk about them being ranked number 9 in the world. I don't think it has a great deal. You know, the top 10, 12 teams in the world at the moment, there's not a huge deal of difference between them. I think they're a very young side that's making huge progress, and obviously they turned us over in the last game and have gone toe-to-toe with us in this whole series. So they're a strong side that we feel have given us a great game and obviously beaten us as well, and they deserve to do so.
And century maker Chris Gale is disappointed with the result of the 4th ODI. He smashed 11 fours and 14 sixes to score 162 from 97 balls, his 25th ODI ton, and he set up a solid foundation for the hosts to chase down their highest runs chase in ODI cricket. Now, despite the defeat, Gale says he was pleased with his performance.
I thought it was a great game. You mentioned to be able to get 160, and it's fantastic. And it's a great feeling to get to another milestone by scoring another century. I'm disappointed to actually be on the losing side. But you can't take away the fact that it was a great game of cricket. England batted well, to be able to post on 490 and a good wicket as well. So we can't fault that. I think it was a great game of cricket, and eventually we fell a bit by 28 runs. So we just have to look to a solution and try and square the series and make it 2-2.
And Gale believes there are still some positives West Indies can take away from the runs chase.
When you look at a situation like this, there's a lot of positive to actually still take out of the game, even though we fell by 28 runs. It's just some simple areas we can actually look at and see where we went wrong. That key middle over where Edmaya and Bravo got out in the same over. I thought that over actually changed the game for us as well. And then myself and the captain had to rebuild the innings and build a partnership, and then take it a bit closer. The way I got out, that was disappointing as well. Should look to bat a bit deeper. But Carlos and Ashley, gave us a chance, in the back end. And when Ashley got out, then Carlos got out in the same over, and then the rest was history. So just one of those things, and it was a great game of cricket for the fans, to be honest with you.
Switching sports now, Jamaica's Reggae Girls begin their World Cup campaign with 2 warm-up matches against Chile this week. TVJ's Karen Madden reports.
The Reggae Girls' first assignment since their qualification takes place on Thursday when they face 38th ranked Chile inside the National Stadium in Kingston. That fixture will be followed by a second friendly international on Sunday at the Montego Bay Sports Complex at Catherine Hall. On Tuesday, members of the team and their head coach were oozing confidence, charged up by the mission of giving a good account against the South Americans. But even as they look to this week's set of matches, Khadija Bunny Shaw, who scored the most goals across all confederations during the qualifiers, and Dominique Bond-Flaza, who scored the winning penalty during the crucial game against Panama, are looking at the bigger picture.
Everybody has different style of plays, so it's a different combination of everybody. So we just have to take everybody's style of play and just bring it to one, and hopefully that while we train and get prepared to play the game against Chile, we just work it out on the field.
Yeah, and to add to that, at the end of the day, we want to have what's best for the team and take the best players going forward that can help us achieve the best results in the World Cup.
Head coach Hugh Menzies addressed the importance of this week's camp.
This week, preparation, obviously for the World Cup, we felt like Chile would be a reputable opponent. Obviously, they're from South America, which they've played Brazil. They also played Italy. We saw their schedule as we were in France trying to put this together. they were getting ready to set up a game with Italy, so I felt like we needed to get Chile to kind of see where, our result against them and kind of measure up where we are.
I will leave you with a bit of sad news where veteran Jamaican sports journalist Tony Becker is dead. The 78-year-old passed away on Tuesday at hospital where he was being treated for dengue fever. Becker was the sports editor for the Jamaica Gleaner newspaper and was known for his extensive coverage of regional cricket. His distinguished career spans 40 years of sports journalism, covering more than 150 test matches globally. Becker was the recipient of numerous awards and once served as president of the Sports Journalists Association of Jamaica and director of the Sports Writers Association of the Americas. He was among the top Caribbean sports writers to be inducted in the Cricket Hall of Fame in Hartford, Connecticut in 2005. Meanwhile, former sports coordinator at the Caribbean Media Corporation, Bernard Babb, has also died. The former Barbadian sports journalist and public relations consultant succumbed to cancer on Tuesday. He was in his 50s. Now, Babb worked extensively for the Caribbean News Agency in the 1990s. He also worked in the sports desk of the Nation newspaper. And that's for sports. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the WWG 2019 War with Germs.
The Oxitec antimicrobial glove is wasting no time, folks.
Quite right, Tammy. I see no way for the germs duo to come back from this.
Oh, what a slam. What a slam. Oxitec is the winner in less than a minute. WWG champion of the world. Find our champion at www.psci.biz or give us a call at 417-0777.
Again, the major developments of this day, Guyana's opposition leader blanks the president's request to to consult on election matters. And in sport, West Indies, England captains praised their team's performances in the fourth ODI, which England won by 29 runs. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports around the clock, log on to carlinnews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow, but for all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.